Hey folks, welcome to the show. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nemo. I am in Oakland. I'm an activist, a mover, a musician, and a producer. And I recently made ravioli for the first time, and I seriously recommend it. It's a game changer. Try it. On this episode, we have my good friend Vince Gyrefunk. Vince is a longtime producer and musician in the Bay Area and a heavy contributor to the modern funk scene. Vince has played live with many amazing artists. He has produced and recorded with a bunch of other artists around the world. He has played a solo project with the vincetrument, which is an instrument that he built himself. And he is one half of the duo Trackrunner. Vince is really a musical prodigy. He plays a number of instruments. I don't even know how many, but a bunch. And he really is a pleasure to work with. He's produced a number of my songs, including my first EP. And I'm really happy to have him here.
All right, I can see you now. A little better.
Do you have a morning routine? If so, what is it like?
Oh man, my ideal morning routine or what really happens?
What really happened?
It's harder now. I have a baby, so I'm kind of at the mercy of whatever she needs comes first, of course. But I guess I would like to meditate. Take even 10 minutes if you can, or 5 minutes if you can, to just sit there. You know, especially I feel like right when you wake up, there's like a window of opportunity to kind of to gather yourself in like this lucid state, I think, which is you can access different so different emotions, I think, before your body actually wakes up. So I think that it's kind of a cool little window in between conscious and subconscious, right when you wake up and right when you go before you go to sleep too. So being able to kind of access that and set your intentions, I think, is important. Yeah, I do a gratitude journal. It's like a 5 minute journal. Just like 3 things that you're grateful for, and then 3 things that would make the day awesome or something, and then like one little affirmation, which could be whatever. I don't know. I don't have it handy. I'm just gonna read a random one, but
Kind of like that.
you know, that sets off the momentum of the day, the trajectory in like a positive motion, I guess. So yeah, and then do your push-ups, pull-ups. Drink water, lemon water. Drink lemon water, alkalize. Have a green drink or a smoothie, something like that. Small bowl of oatmeal.
If you could make or play a song with anyone alive or not,
Oh, that was a hard one. What about Bob Marley? I think that would be pretty cool.
to
Yeah.
play a song with him, or to record, like to make a song?
Either or. No, probably to make a song. I think
Yeah.
he would probably have something something very healing, for these times. He has some good medicine like he does in all of his songs.
Yeah. Nice. How do you stay in the music during uninspired times?
Does it work if I look this way too? Not inspired? Just start. Suck it up and just get to work, and you'll probably get inspired once you start working. I don't know. It's like going to the gym. You don't feel like working out. It's like, once you get to the gym and you do like your first set, like you're already there. You're working out. It's happening.
It's like the first 10 minutes of running. Like, oh my God, why
exactly.
am I here?
Just getting out of the house is the first thing that you got to do. Yeah. So
Nice.
Start. I don't know.
That
answers it. Just start.
What
Maybe
is
that
something...
could be Nike's new slogan. So just do it.
Just start it.
Start it. just start it, and then on the back, just and finish it.
Yeah. But
you get a lot more things done and completed if you start them and finish
them. What is something you learned how to say no to that has changed your musical career?
Learn how to say no to? People, projects, money, learn how to say no to things that you don't want to do, I guess, or not that you don't want to do, like I don't know, guarding your time better. Now, yeah, well, I'd say not working on things you're not genuinely excited about, or like just to get paid to do it, I guess, like I wouldn't work on a song that I think is whack just because they're paying me to do it. That's like sucking my soul out of my soul, my body. Which is something I used to do a lot. I used to spend a lot of my time in the studio just making beats to make beats and selling them to rappers for money. And I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily be proud of the song or the content, and I wouldn't stand behind it. I stand behind my beats and like the work, but the song itself or the message, I wouldn't necessarily stand behind that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Which is weird too, because I work with kids and families, and then I'm like making this hood ass music. It's like, oh, where can I hear some of your music? I'm like, yeah, it's not out yet. I got all this like fucking gangster shit. But yeah, so just working on stuff that I'm happy to work on and stand by, and I put my name behind. I think that's super important.
Yes.
And guarding your time, that coincides with the first part of the answer, but just guarding your time, I think, is important, because there's only so much time in the day, and within that, there's only so much time that you can allot towards working on music. So it might as well be your music.
Very true. Very, very true. How do you define success for yourself in music?
I'm still working on that. Success in music.
Yeah.
Being able to do what you would be doing anyways. And get paid for it. Right? If this was just a hobby, I would be making beats, like making my own songs, working with friends, releasing music, doing shows, and I'd be doing all that anyway. So if you can do all that and make a living, then I consider that a success. But it's always growing and graduating, right? When you get here, then you're attaining to get here, and then once you're there, it's not like, oh, I made it, I'm successful. Now you're trying to get to the next level and the next level. So I guess a better answer would be the progression. That's success. Not being stagnant, definitely not moving backwards, but progressively getting closer and closer to whatever your goals are, because it's going to be different for everybody depending on what stage they are at in their career. So as long as you're moving towards your goal, first of all, you need to define your goal. Everybody has to define what success is for themselves, or rather what direction they're wanting to go in, or what they want out of music, I guess, for a career, or yeah, what they define as success. Yeah, and then moving towards it.
It's a smart answer.
Yeah, I don't know if I articulated that.
You did
well.
I like the general version of it that you said.
I just edit my my answers.
Chop the words
all the stutters and stuff. Yeah, just take it out. Auto tune me.
I'll do the reharmonization of this interview.
Yeah, I could probably do it here in real time.
What is a go-to song of yours to inspire you or get you in a good mood?
Oh yeah. See, I skimmed over these and I was like, I didn't have an answer for any of them. That's why I was like, I don't want it to be scripted. A go-to song to make me feel good?
Just like you have a song and you're
Is
like,
that what it is?
ah, yeah, something to like get you in the
Mm,
mood or get you like inspired or like.
I don't know that I have a go-to song. I guess it depends on what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get work done and I want to listen to music and not have to pay too much attention to it. I might have like a go-to station on Pandora or like a kind of
Mm,
like been listening to a lot of chill hop or like lo-fi kind of, I don't want to say background, but it's kind of background music, but it's enough to kind of be like, all right, get a little groove, get me in the mood of doing something, but it's not distracting me. That's another thing. When you're a music producer, just listening to music, I don't know if you can relate, just listening to music is a very different experience, you know?
mhm.
Like people are just listening and sing along to the song, and you're like listening to how it's mixed, or you're like listening to a hi-hat, you know, or you're like thinking of songwriting, or you're like, well, what chord was that? Or like thinking of a chord progression.
Yes.
I wouldn't say it just it ruins listening to music, but there's like super active listening and there's more passive listening. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a go-to song, but I have go-to maybe genres of that evoke certain emotions.
That's
I
cool.
guess. I mean,
What is something that you do to avoid getting caught up in other people's definitions of music success?
I don't know. I don't. Never really worried about uh, what other people think about what I'm doing. I guess at least in that regards.
That's really good. That's excellent.
Um, I mean, not everybody knows what success is either, you know. So
Mm.
yeah, I don't know if they're not also a musician and kind of doing something similar and at a higher level than what I'm doing. I have to take everything they say with a grain of salt, you know.
If you had
Um,
to make a full album using only 3 instruments, what would you
oh
choose?
yeah, yeah, that one's hard. Probably guitar would have to be in there because it's so versatile and I'm somewhat proficient. Gosh, and to fill it out sonically. I mean, guitar, bass, and drums. I mean, I guess that's cliche, uh,
But
but
I mean, it works.
because it works. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, that would probably yield the best results. Like I love playing piano, but I'm not that good at all of the keys, so the album would start to sound the same after a while. Yeah, guitar, bass, and drum kit. I can find my way around those enough.
I
But
think I'm
what's funny is the better you get at producing, the the more proficient you are at editing and at like Ableton or Pro Tools, the less proficient you have to be at playing uh, instruments.
the
That's
instruments, dude.
that's horrible advice.
What advice would you give to musicians, artists, producers who are starting out, like aspiring musicians and artists and
Oh,
producers?
wow, that's super broad. Yeah, sure. Learn an instrument.
That's good.
It's gonna help. But I mean, depending on what you're doing, you might not need to. That might come secondary to just diving in there. And
Mm.
I mean, there's so many different tools available now to allow you to create at a high level without having to play instruments, and it's
Mhm.
still very creative. Um, yeah, just dive in there. Just do it. Just start.
Just, but then make sure you finish.
Just start and finish. That's true because
Just
this is
start.
something, whether you're just starting out in music production or you've been doing it for 10 years or 20 years, everybody, I think, this is a universal thing, is that they start a lot of songs, but you don't finish. So just start and finish.
Agreed. The finishing is hard.
And even if you're not finishing it, at least bounce it out, export it, like have a finished version of it to where you're not needing to open the session to hear it. Go through push through the extra, the last like 10% of it. You know, you get something 90% done. It's not fun anymore. Usually the last 10% is the part that's not as fun. You know, there's people that use chainsaws and they make big sculptures of like bears out of logs stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's fun, and it's like really like, I want to do this and do that, and it ends up being like this super fun, rough idea, and then the last 10% is like the tedious stuff with a chisel and like sanding, and it's like you want to abandon that and do another like chainsaw thing. Anyway, so it's like that with songs. So you like to start them, do the fun part,
Make the bear.
and
Make the
then
shape of the bear.
make the bear, but the bear has no fur, has no
defined
claws.
eyes.
Exactly.
You can't.
It's just sketching.
That's good. What piece of music advice would you give yourself 5 years ago?
5 years ago, man, that's not even that long ago. 5 years ago, this one we.
Oh, what
did,
about 10 years? 10 years ago.
We advice, just finish stuff and put stuff out. Release music. You know, it's not that hard anymore. Before you had to do, you had to do a lot more, and be consistent. Yeah, I mean, this is all advice I'm giving myself right now. There's never going to be a perfect time. You're always going to be too busy. Do it anyway. You know, stick to a schedule, because with consistency, that's how you're going to get better, and with consistency, that's how you're going to build an audience. And time flies by. If you're consistent, you're going to build a catalog.
What is something you would like to quit in the next 3 months?
Quit in the next 3 months? Should probably quit picking up free crap from Nextdoor and let go. And quit looking at your phone. Yeah, that's what I would tell myself right now. In 3 months, I want to look at my phone a lot less.
What do you think is one of the most important changes you have made to go from being a music consumer, like, or someone who appreciates music, to someone who creates music?
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't made a conscious like effort to change anything about myself in that regards.
That's good. That's all the questions that I have for you, man.
This is good practice too. Like for me, this isn't something I've done. And also knowing like this is gonna live somewhere. I'm gonna watch it and be like, oh man, that's what I look like.
Yeah, exactly. Do I sound like that?
I said like 400 times. And then